Welcome to Old Iron Machine Works. My name's Gary, and this is a project on my 2CH Kearney Trecker mill. I got a couple videos out on it, getting it up and running, and taking a vertical head off of my older 2H and getting it stripped down and running. But this video will be replacing that corrugated tube with an original tube. And a picture coming up here. Right there it shows an original tube off my 2H, and it's just a telescoping tube, 4 sections made out of brass that just slide in and out. Unfortunately, this particular tube here was hit at some point before I got it and creased pretty good. The whole idea of it telescoping in and out is that as the table goes up and down and in and out, they just kind of slide in and out apart. Here I have it off the unit and starting to tear it apart. I do have to cut that piece in order to get it apart. I had to cut that off. Here I have it pretty well apart, and the way they put it together, the two inner sections have those little sleeves soldered on them. So in order to take those two pieces apart separately, I would have had to remove those bells. I did not want to do that, and the tubes together did have some creases in them. So I just took a 1-inch bar and clamped it up in the lathe, and then basically just have a bearing, and I'm just putting pressure up against it as it's spinning, and to get rid of the creases that were in it. Now the inner tube and the outer tube were both ended up being pretty far gone. I was able to find a piece of stainless tube that we had that had the exact same OD but thicker wall, which was great because nothing slid on the inside of it. So the one smaller tube will be stainless. Here I'm just cleaning up the ring that I already removed off the other original tube and getting ready to silver solder it on. Preparation's key with any type of welding or soldering, but especially with silver solder. So here I got the surfaces all prepped up, and putting some flux on both contacting areas just to help the solder flow down in there. Those bands on the end of the tubes are actually designed, the outer band, to slide a nice fit on the next size larger tube, and on this particular section it wasn't sliding very well, so I decided to just clean it up a little bit. Here we have all the pieces. This was the inside tube that I had to cut off in order to get it apart. That was the section that fit in the cast iron bail on the end. This is the larger tube. Now this piece of tube I was able to get the exact same size for McMaster Carr. I'm always impressed with McMaster Carr on what they carry. This is the two inner tubes that pretty much, like, if I wanted to take them apart, I would have to heat up the collars. I did not want to do that. But each one has an outer collar and an inner collar. That just keeps them from pulling apart. And that'll be the new stainless steel inner tube that I've already got the end soldered on. Now here's the new outer tube that I was able to get from McMaster Carr, and it was a very, very nice fit. What I need to do here is I need to remove that inner collar in order to install it on the inside of the new tube. I just wanted to point out I do have a pretty high comfort level running the machinery, but as a disclaimer for anybody else that's getting into machining, don't do that. Don't grab your piece while it's spinning in the lathe. Alright, here I'm ready to remove that inner band right there, and it's only about 32 thousandths thick. So in order to get that out, I've decided to go ahead and machine the outside portion. So I was lucky enough to find a socket that fit really well, and now I'll just skim the outside off. Here I'm just going to machine off some of the high spots of the silver solder, a little less filing. On the original tubes, they just had a drilling and then they just drove a pin in it. Here's the pin right there that came out of it. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to drill or tap the holes out and put set screws. The set screws are 832s, and I think that's a better way to go. What I did is I used the set screws themselves to just give me a witness mark on the tube. Now I'm just going to go in and center punch the center of the hole to drill it out. Yeah, I don't want the set screws pushing on the tube itself. I want to have a relief hole where the set screw just kind of screws inside the hole and kind of keeps the tube from pulling out. I also wanted to clean up the two inner tubes, and they do not come apart. And it made it a little difficult to chuck them up without, bending anything. Remember, the tubes are like 32 thousandths thick. So I went ahead and slid them over a piece of stainless, taped them up, and this is polishing. It works well. Now, when installing these tubes, the inner and the outer are going to go in from opposite directions. This is the inner tube. It'll slide in from one direction. And then the outer tube will slide over and come in from the opposite direction. That just allows everything to pull apart and have stops, bottom stops as they pull out. The cast iron bales are ready to paint. Just not sure what color I'm going to go with yet. I also want to thank all my new subscribers. I appreciate it very much, and I would love to have any kind of feedback. If you like the content, please give a thumbs up. It definitely does make a difference the way YouTube is set up. Anyway, I appreciate it. Thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing.